Guys, look at this commission I got. I got to design the orientation shirt for my university. So basically every year, when new students come to our school, if you didn't know, I go to a university called Dharma Realm Buddhist University. Okay, yeah. And every year they will give out a shirt with a design unique to DRBU with a theme for the new students. And this year I got to design that shirt. So let me show you what happened and how I did it. Well, the themes switch. It's either Sanskrit or Chinese. So this year the theme was in Chinese, so we have the word nian. It can be to recite, to ponder, to think, to contemplate, to recall, to consider, around reflecting, which is a big part of what DRBU is about. So what I did at first was I thought, well, since this is a Chinese theme and we are in the year of the dragon, I thought that I would design something dragon related, because all the students that are coming in are coming in at the year of the dragons. They could be like, I don't know, little baby dragons, I have no idea, but that's like what my first initial idea was. So I had designs where there was a little dragon thinking, and there were just like, like dragon designs. Basically I had to incorporate the character Nian into my designs, and that was like what was, well, that was like my initial idea. And then I made 4 different designs. 2 of them are dragons. One of them is like the gate. We have where our school is located inside of a monastery, so when you come in you see a very big gate, and because it's like new students want to welcome new students into this program that they sign up for. So I thought of like, oh, maybe I can make like a big door that's welcoming, and that was like my other idea. And then my 4th idea was a peacock, because in DRBU, or just in the monastery, we have peacocks running around like freely in the wild. That was like a big thing in our school. So in the end I thought of like, oh well, let me do a peacock design, a peacock among the trees, because we also are in like the wilderness. We have a lot of forest and trees and greenery. So that was my last idea. So I pulled out these 4 initial drafts to, well, I guess there's a committee who's taking decisions and whatnot, and I gave it to them, and they came back to me and they liked the peacock design the most. So I ran with that one. I then listened to their feedback and did some changes to the peacock design. And then I just went on to drawing the design. Drawing like the trees and giving them details, and I was really going for a vibe, like a really green vibe, and also like a more like a really friendly and really bright. It's almost like this is a scene out of a children's book, and I was giving it this kind of vibe because it's supposed to be welcoming. It's supposed to be something that everybody can look at and feel welcome and feel joy and whatnot. So so that's what I did. This wasn't my idea. This like peacocks are very exotic. There's like a lot of colors on them. It's like not just like blue and green. They actually have like orange and brown and just a bunch of things on them. Peacocks, yeah. But the funniest thing was that I was looking at my photos and I just realized I have like no photos of peacocks, which is like, excuse me, I live in a school filled with peacocks. I should have some photos of peacocks, but apparently I didn't. So I had the decision to make to take more photos of peacocks. I don't know why I don't have any, which is very funny. But yeah, the initial idea was that there was like a peacock sitting on a tree, and he looks up to the forest, like looks up to the sky, and he's just thinking. So that was like the idea with the peacock. It's like the peacock's the one who's thinking, the peacock's the one who's practicing nian, and then I would just put the character somewhere beside it, and that will be the design. And I actually really liked how this turned out. It's really cute. And and it really fits DRBU's vibe because DRBU's color is very green. It's not any green. It's a very mossy forest green. It's not exactly those bright lime greens, you know? We have different types of greens around here, and that's like a peacock green is pretty fitting of a DRBU as well. So when I finished this design, well, the basic story was that I finished this design, and then I emailed it to, I guess, my supervisor for this job, and after a few days, he just came back to me and was like, this is a bit too detailed. And it wasn't that he didn't, well, how do I say this? It wasn't that at first he didn't also know that it was like too detailed. He just wanted to give me all the creativity, so he wanted to let me roll with whatever I wanted to do. And so I just did what like I thought would be the best for this design. So I added a bunch of colors, because peacock has a bunch of colors, and the trees all had different shades of green so that they contrast with each other, and there were a lot of lines and details. And then he came back to me and said that this is too detailed and we cannot print this on the t-shirt, so could you redo this design but just make it more simple, maybe just add one tree and just do 5 colors because we cannot print that many colors. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I mean, this, yeah. So after I made like this initial design, I made a second one, which is a really simplified version, which is like very just basic colors, and I just went with the green, and then the peacock is just blue, and then so that was like the design that was like finally chosen, and I did some formatting stuff, added the character plus the words that were supposed to go with it, and then I just emailed that, and that's like the basic of the story is how I came about. Like the final design on the t-shirt that the new students got to wear is like the why is that one kind of different from like my initial design. And I think this whole process just showed me that like, well, most of the times when you do like a commission work, you really listen to whoever is asking for it, and it really goes through like a different process, because at first you might think of an idea, but then another person likes a different idea, and it just changes so much. Like my initial idea from the dragons all the way to the very simplified basic colors of the final design of the peacock, there's like so many things that happen in between, and there's so many ideas that happen in between, and then in the end it's like, oh, it's just that. And then the funniest thing is that the new students might look at that design and say, this is very simple, this is very weird. Like if I found that shirt at first, like if I was a new student and I was given this shirt at first, I will just go and like say, this is very simple, like I could draw this in 5 minutes. If I wasn't an artist, I would still say I could draw this in 5 minutes, like less than 5 minutes. And it's true, it's very simple. Anybody could possibly do this, given if they had like maybe a software or just a pen and paper. But they would have no idea that this design actually was the fruit of like so many thoughts and like so many changes, like just right and left. Like they would never know about that. And that is something that's very interesting with art, is sometimes we look at modern art and we just think we can make that in like 3 to 5 minutes ourselves, like, and even if we have like no artistic background. But the fun thing about art sometimes is like the thought and the process behind it. And for this design, for the more detailed design, for the more detailed peacock to the more basic peacock, like the thoughts behind it, the process that went through, the changes, the different things that happened, that's like a very big part of the process in the art. And but the other thing is, you can't really go around and tell people, oh, actually this design went through so many changes, then blah blah blah. Like it actually is so much more meaningful, because there's like a whole learning process, there's a whole negotiation, there's a lot of different ideas thrown around. Like all of that is kind of like neglected, because all people see is the final design, the final t-shirt that people got to wear. And the final t-shirt that, well, looking at it sometimes from afar you might see it and it's like, what is that? Like I can tell it's a tree, but what is hanging from the tree? And it's just kind of it's just it is what it is. I think it's kind of fun that like I was able to design this shirt in the first place, and that I was given the creativity to design from scratch. And I hope that like, oh, maybe the new students can see this, and then next year whoever designs the next shirt, it could be me, it could be somebody else, well, they can take this as, well, I don't know, as like a learning opportunity, and really an opportunity to see that like even the most simplest designs or the simplest thing that someone come up with is worth a lot, because there's actually a lot of energy that was given out to produce it, to produce the final result, you know. And that's like, well, this is my TED talk. Thank you very much.